You know, I never thought I'd have to make another video like this. I thought after the first one that gamers around the world would see the error of their ways, put their differences aside, and approach every new release with respect and fairness. And I'm kidding, obviously. I knew nothing would change. Gamers suck, and they always will. It's been 3 years since I made the first Toxic video, and if anything, the gaming community has only gotten worse. There is no joy in video games anymore. Do you remember back in the day when a big AAA game would come out and gamers of all backgrounds would wait outside a GameStop together just so they could play it as quickly as they possibly could? When the discussion the next day was about the content of the game, the story, the combat, the exploration. I took part in a lot of them, but that time is dead now, and gamers killed it. Even with incredible games releasing constantly, and titles that players have been waiting decades for finally being announced, there is always some aspect of every game that a certain group of fans, and you know who they are, just do not fuck with. So let's dive back into this cesspool, I guess. God damn it. Why do I do this to myself? No one asked me to do this. So there are a million different reasons why gamers will criticize a game online. Some of them are valid, but there is one phrase that tends to come up far more than anything else when discussing the quality of a game. Woke. Also DEI, but that kind of falls under the woke umbrella in this context, so we'll just go with woke. There is an entire subsect of gamers whose entire gaming activity is decided by whether or not a game is woke. But there are so many games nowadays, some would say too many. So how on earth can someone find out whether or not this game they want to play is woke? Enter the Woke Content Detector, a Steam group that has curated a list of games and rated them based on wokeness. This is so fucking stupid. So I know I'm a little late to talking about this. This list really started gaining attention late last year, but I don't really care about that because I want to make fun of it. At the time of writing this, there are over 1,600 games on this list, which are rated as follows. Recommended, no woke content present. Informational, woke themes present with subtle/no specific messaging. We'll come back to that later. And finally, not recommended, woke themes present with overt messaging. These are the wokest games to ever woke. If you even think about playing these games, your hair immediately turns blue and pronouns automatically appear on your socials. So let's see what games this esteemed group has deemed worthy or not worthy to be played by the masses. First game on the list, Bloons Tower Defense 6. Not recommended. Okay, let's see their reasoning. Contains overtly pro-LGBTQ+ messaging. There's a pride flag available in the trophy store with a pro-pride message. Psy is referred to using they, them pronouns. Oh, this is gonna be rough. I'm so sorry, everybody. Really, the first game. I don't think having an optional pride flag in the trophy store counts as overtly pro-LGBT messaging, guys. If the rainbow is so terrifying to you, you don't have to buy that flag. Also, don't go outside after a storm. Who am I kidding? You don't go outside. Okay, what's next? Starfield. Okay, yeah, we knew that was gonna be here. We all saw the bald pronouns guy. Fucking pronouns! Baldur's Gate 3, yep, by their logic, just about the wokest game to ever exist. Although, guys, this game is still one of the most played games on Steam almost 2 years after release. I don't think people are taking your rating all that seriously. All right, let's skip around a little bit. Elden Ring, not recommended. Really? Uses body type in place of biological sex during character creation. So you're telling me the lands between, the same place where a giant pair of fingers decides who will inherit the Elden Ring, doesn't use the same societal norms that America does? Well, that doesn't make sense. Also, now I know this list is bullshit because Elden Ring just topped 30 million total sales. And you're telling me the people who made this list aren't still playing that shit to this day? Grow up. Okay, what else we got? Red Dead 2, informational. Interesting. Contains subtly pro-DEI messaging. Several minor characters espouse modern-day political sentiments. As an example, the NPC Sadie Adler behaves the same way a modern-day feminist would. Okay, disregarding the fact that Sadie as a character fucking rules, when do you think the feminist movement started? Spoiler alert, it's a lot fucking earlier than when this game takes place. There's literally a mission where Arthur takes part in a women's suffrage march. Not because the woke mob took over the writer's room at Rockstar, because that's something that actually happened in 1899. Speaking of Arthur, the alpha chad that he is also super woke.
I got friends who's Mexican, friends who's Indian, known blacks, Irish, Italians, good and bad and all. I've known good white people and bad white people. And above all, Dumb white people.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In fact, I think it only makes his character more interesting and stand out against the other stereotypical outlaws that surround him. But by your definition, this game should absolutely fall under not recommended. You know why I think it didn't though? Because you like the game. You don't want to admit that you like the woke game. The hypocrisy of this list runs deep, and that becomes obvious when you start looking at the recommended games. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are both recommended. Both of those games feature a woman as one of the 4 playable characters, so this level of inclusion is fine for you, but Counter-Strike 2 having female agent skins is too woke? Interesting. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is recommended. The protagonist in this game loses an arm at the very beginning and then uses a prosthetic through the rest of the game. That means the protagonist technically has a disability. You docked other games for that aspect, but you like this one, so it doesn't count. The cracks really start to show when you look at the informational section of this list. The group's methodology for this section is woke themes present with subtle/no specific messaging. But what that really means is these games are woke, but we like them, so we can't say that. The entire Mass Effect series, with the exception of Andromeda, is listed under informational, all for the same reason: homosexual romance options. Something that put countless other games, actually no, not countless, I did count over 40 other games in not recommended, but all of these ultra woke games get a pass because you like them. God! The Last of Us Part 1 is here, obviously, although under informational. This game includes a ton of strong female characters and multiple non-heterosexual relationships, but it's also one of the most beloved games of all time, so you won't call it woke with your whole chest, will you? I also noticed you didn't include The Last of Us Part 2, which is the anti-woke regime's public enemy #1, anywhere on this list. Why not? Why not, you fucking cowards? Okay, I could scour this list all day long, and if you want me to do that, maybe I will. Let me know. But unfortunately, we have a lot more to get through, so let's just look at one more. Spider-Man 2, not recommended. I fucking wonder why, dude. Oh look, there's a link to the full review. Perfect. Gay homecoming dance, yeah. Miles' deaf girlfriend, makes sense. Peter is anti-gun. Peter is anti-gun. Peter is anti-gun. Peter is anti-gun. He's Spider-Man! I'm done. We gotta move on, you fucking idiots. So if it's not clear to you by now, basically anything in video games that is not 100% straight and white is considered woke by this mob of cave dwellers. I have said woke so many times in this video already. I am so sick of it. You don't even know what it means! But I think in some ways, an even more prominent issue with these gamers is that they just straight up hate women, and that's not me being hyperbolic. Anytime I see a game announced that has a female protagonist, I can just feel the toxic sludge spewing out of twitter.com. I will not call it the other name, Elon, go fuck yourself. The conversation generally goes one of two ways. If the protagonist is conventionally attractive, then the game is based, and it was made by quote-unquote real gamers who care about what gamers want. Easily the best recent example of this is Stellar Blade, which earned the praise of the anti-woke gaming community due to certain design choices. It's a game for gooners. There's no other way to say it. Now, although most other people justifiably saw the game's design of the protagonist Eve to be over-sexualized, when looked at for its gameplay, Stellar Blade received pretty positive reception and most players enjoyed their time with it. Yet somehow, even this game couldn't escape the ire of the anti-woke community for long. It's worth mentioning that before the game released, a lot of its marketing was focused on the game being uncensored, most likely to combat Japan's media rating board tightening restrictions on content in games. And that wasn't entirely about the jiggle physics of it all, although there was a lot of it. It was also about the excessive violence and gore that the developer did not want to compromise on. So when Western audiences got word of this, they took it as this game fighting back against the woke agenda of Western media. However, when the game finally released, a day one patch made a few subtle, and I mean subtle, changes that tarnished its anti-woke image it had attained. So in the game, Eve has various outfits the player can choose for her to wear, ranging from pretty standard to a little silly to, let's just say, revealing. But that day one patch made a few changes to some of Eve's outfits, making them just ever so slightly less revealing, and that tiny change opened the floodgates. Maybe an inch of pixelated fabric led to a change.org petition with almost 100,000 signatures to free Stellar Blade from the clutches of censorship. I also realized that this petition was started by Mark Kern, aka Grums from Twitter, which is just so goddamn funny, I cannot even explain it. If you want a good laugh, just read through the full description on the petition website because it's incredible, but I did want to point out this one line from it. The content has been censored from the original trailer version posted by Sony. We as gamers want this content back. We relied on it. We made the game the #1 pre-order worldwide because of it, and this is the true game we want. Guys, come on. This is the hill you're gonna die on? If this right here was the part of the game that you were relying on, then I'm sorry, but that's weird. You're weird. This is a video game. It has so much more to offer you than oogling the protagonist. But if this is all you were looking for, I assure you, there are countless websites where you can find it. I'm not going to mention them, but I don't have to, because you recognize this sound. You know where to go. Fucking degenerates. Now, if the female protagonist is not conventionally attractive, or at least not considered attractive by this very small and brain-dead group of gamers, the game is, you guessed it, considered woke and unrealistic. There are so many examples of this, but in the interest of time and my own sanity, which is just barely hanging on at this point, we're gonna keep it to 3. First up, we have Ghost of Yotei. Hey guys, Editor Gooba here with a quick disclaimer. This video took me way too long to edit, so Ghost of Yotei is currently out. I've been playing it and it's awesome, but everything that I'm about to say about it was recorded before the game came out, so just wanted you to know that. Okay, love you, back to the video. Which is a sequel, but not really, to Ghost of Tsushima that was announced at a Sony State of Play event last year. I say not really a sequel because it's supposed to be a standalone title set in the world of Ghost of Tsushima that takes place 300 years after the events of the first game in a different part of Japan. And the protagonist Atsu is in no way related to Jin from the first game, but none of that is the issue for the people complaining. Most of these people love the first game, so you would think the announcement of a sequel would be met with excitement, right? No, it's much more stupid than that. The issue is that the protagonist is a woman, and that hurts their feelings. The main complaint, as always, is that it's not realistic for there to be a female samurai in feudal Japan. Disregarding the fact that there were female samurai in feudal Japan in real life, they were called onomusha, in the world of the first game, there are multiple women who you fight alongside for the entirety of the game. Yuna basically teaches Jin how to become the ghost, and Lady Masako is an absolute badass who helps you with basically every major battle in the game. So yeah, a woman as the next protagonist absolutely makes sense in this universe, especially considering that Jin's story is done by the end of the first game. Of course, gamer bros are also mad because the voice actor for the new protagonist has different political views than them, but like, they didn't write the story. Atsu isn't going to be wearing an ACAB shirt in the game. Just put aside your own political biases for a few hours and fight alongside a wolf or whatever. This game looks so fucking cool. Your life will be way more fun that way, I promise. Next up on the list of games that will be bad because women, we have Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, the new IP from Naughty Dog that was announced at last year's Game Awards. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you probably know that when it comes to Naughty Dog games, let's just say, I'm a fan. The Last of Us and Uncharted series both have multiple games that I would consider all-time favorites, and whose childhood didn't include Crash Bandicoot or Jak and Daxter, or both in some fashion. It is not an exaggeration to say that almost everything Naughty Dog has touched in the last 25 years has turned to gold. And regardless if you like the story or not, or your opinions on the guy who wrote it, you can't deny the fact that their more recent games are technical marvels that are also, might I add, actually finished on release day. Okay, maybe not the PC port, but that's beside the point. All this to say, when Naughty Dog puts out a new game, there's a more than likely chance it's a banger. So when they reveal a retro-futuristic 80s style action-adventure game with music by Trent Reznor, where you play as a bounty hunter in space with a fucking laser sword and a Porsche spaceship, I swear to God, Naughty Dog, if you don't let me drive this ship, I won't do anything, but I will be very sad. My point is, when a respected studio announces a game like this, there are only two acceptable responses. One is to get fucking hyped, as I did, or to say, doesn't look like my type of game, but I'm happy for the people who get to enjoy it. That's it. Those are your options. But as they do, gamers found a third option, which was to cry because the protagonist is a woman with a shaved head. Naughty Dog probably anticipated some hate, especially after this group of gamers' reception to The Last of Us Part 2, so they turned comments off on the reveal trailer on their YouTube channel. But basically every other publication that posted this trailer was naturally flooded with dislikes. And if you want to see some of the most generic, truly unfunny responses to this trailer, there are over 35,000 on PlayStation's upload of this trailer for you to read through. A lot of the comments are saying that this is going to be Sony's next Concord, which... Are we looking at the same game? Concord flopped because it was yet another Overwatch clone in a sea of hero shooters that no one is asking developers to add to, with uninteresting characters that players had no desire to play as. If you're looking for comparisons between Intergalactic and Concord, it's gonna be hard to find much more than the fact that they both have guns and they were both developed by PlayStation Studios. I think the most annoying part of this controversy is that there is no controversy to begin with. As Jordan Gerber said in his article for Games Radar, I don't even like using the word controversy here, because that implies that Naughty Dog did something to stir up controversy and for which Druckmann should have to explain. It didn't. We know next to nothing about this game besides what was shown in the trailer, and all that really told us is that it takes place in space, it has an 80s theme, and you fight robots. Everything else you are assuming based on appearance and based on the studio behind it. And with a track record like Naughty Dog has, all I have to say is let them cook. And now we come to my final example of games with female protagonists receiving backlash from the community, and if you're watching this video, it's one you've definitely heard about. Ciri in The Witcher 4. Now, when the first trailer of The Witcher 4 was revealed at last year's Game Awards, I don't think anyone with even casual knowledge of the Witcher series was all that surprised to see Ciri as the new protagonist. Ciri has been an integral part of the book, show, and game series, and it's my understanding that the ending of The Witcher 3 pretty clearly sets up Ciri as the protagonist moving forward. I will preface by saying that I am a very casual fan of the Witcher series. I've read a few of the books, watched the show, and dabbled in playing The Witcher 3, but I am in no way an expert on the topic. So when I saw people saying girls can't be Witchers after watching the trailer where Ciri has the mutations and is using the magic of Witchers, I did what apparently none of these gamers thought to do, which was some fucking research. Shout out to Neon Knight. I learned a lot about the lore of The Witcher from watching his video on this topic. I'll leave a link to his video in the description. Despite what Twitter users were so quick to say after watching this trailer, nowhere in the lore does it say that women explicitly can't be Witchers or can't survive the trial of the grasses. It's just that Witchers don't try. With the exception of maybe a few unsuccessful trials by the original Witchers, the first successful Witcher mutation was conducted on a boy, so they just stuck with boys moving forward. It's also fair to mention that a lot of the research on Witcher mutations has been lost to time. So someone with knowledge of magic and the potions and ingredients required for the trial of the grasses could reasonably develop a way Witcher mutations can be done successfully on women. It also needs to be addressed that Ciri is not your typical Witcher candidate at all. She has elder blood, she's considered one of the most powerful beings on the continent, she's called the fucking Lady of Space and Time. Clearly she is an exception to whatever quote-unquote rules there are to becoming a Witcher. Now, I have seen a few fans of the series who are excited to play as Ciri in the next game, but who are still slightly confused or maybe concerned about how Ciri became a Witcher, and I think that's fine. You're allowed to question how a developer came to a decision, especially when it's an adaptation of such a well-known series. All I'm saying is, CD Projekt Red has been very successful thus far in telling their adaptation of the Witcher story. So if we give them some time, I feel confident that they can come up with a valid explanation as to why and how Ciri took on the role of a Witcher. There are also some people who are mad because CDPR made this version of Ciri ugly, to which I just have to say, why are you like this? She's older. People look different as they age. Alpha male podcasts have rotted your brain into a mushy, applesauce-like substance. Go outside. I think one of the most frustrating things about this whole anti-woke movement is that in the online conversation around video games, the voices on that side of the debate are often the loudest. I have had multiple experiences recently of searching for a review on a slightly less popular single-A or double-A game and have to sift through what feels like hundreds of videos with thumbnails that say say woke trash or DEI slop before I can find an honest-to-God review of the game. For example, when South of Midnight released earlier this year, which is a game that I was very intrigued by since it was announced, I wanted to know if it was worth picking up, so I searched for a review. But what I found at the time was a slew of videos with the same generic anti-woke talking points and only maybe a handful of actual reviews. All that's gonna do is lead people to think, well, no one's really playing this game and the ones who are don't seem to like it, so I won't play it either, rather than hearing an honest review of the game and deciding for themselves. And let me be clear, the people who are making anti-woke videos on these games have not fucking played these games. They're not gonna put their money where their mouth is. They see a woman, a person of color, or a non-gender conforming person in the trailer or in the game art and say, this is trash, don't play it. And their sheep, I mean supporters, automatically listen to them. If you're one of these people who have fallen into this anti-woke mindset where every new game sucks and games from 20 years ago are the only good ones, I am not triggered or offended by you. I feel sorry for you. It must be so depressing to look at every new game that comes out and immediately focus on the one small aspect of it that you don't agree with, rather than trying to find something fun about it. And as a content creator, I can tell you from experience, it is so much more rewarding to make a video about something I love, rather than every video I make being about something I hate. I am not here to tell you that every video game is perfect and that you are not allowed to be upset with the gaming industry as a whole. I am all the time. There are more than a few valid reasons to be frustrated with the mega corporations that control this medium, but the LGBT community is not ruining video games. People of color are not ruining video games. Women are not ruining video games. Video games are not ruined. And if you think they are, and if you think it's because of these groups of people, all you've done is ruin video games for yourself. My name's Gooba. I'll see you next time.